All right, what's going on, Giants fans? Welcome to Draft Month, baby. We got a ton of content coming, but first, April 1st, the first of draft day of draft month, doing a mock draft, doing a Giants mock draft, going through all six of their picks from pick 11 to pick 201. And I feel good about it. I feel really good about it. It's post free agency, so it's pretty different than the pre free agency mock draft where I had Jalen Waddle in the first round. But post free agency, we've got a really good look at what this Giants team is trying to do. Now I feel really good. I feel really good. Now, here are some disclaimers. I only have 80 players done. We cover the team year round, so I'll get 60 to 80 more done in the next month by time draft day when we do our final mock drafts. So that is what will change it between now and then. Like late round corners, I really don't know in any of them. I have some guys at the Senior Bowl when I was there that I like, but I watched film on the top of the class, and then the Giants signed Adoree Jackson, so I don't know the cornerback spot well. I use the Draft Network simulator, so if you're going to tell me someone's not going to be there, tweet at the Draft Network, not me. I don't do trades in mock drafts. Trades happen. Dave Gettleman's never traded down in his life. He's traded up before, but he's never traded down. But trades happen, but it's not going to be the trade that the mock draft simulator gives you. So I don't do them because I just think they're unrealistic. So, and some draft philosophies. Position matters in the first three rounds. Position and need matter in the first three rounds. Round 4, you want to get someone at a spot. Rounds 5 through 7 is totally best player available. I don't care what position they play. Besides quarterback, I don't believe in drafting quarterbacks not in the first round. Either you like a guy to be a first round pick or you don't. There's always going to be some disclaimers, the Daks, the Tom Brady's. But for the most part, those guys at best turn into Mike Glennon's, Colt McCoy. So I believe in signing backups, and the Giants already did that. So, anyways, let's get into it with the first round. The New York Giants in the 11th overall pick. We're taking Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle out of Northwestern, 6'4", 305 pounds. This decision's easy for me at this point. The other people that I considered at this spot that were there, Jalen Waddle, Micah Parsons, and edge was a position. Edge is a very big position of need for the Giants, but I just don't feel comfortable about any of the edge guys. Waddle's tempting, but we need to fix this offensive line. We feel good with the wide receiver group, and we're going to hit a wide receiver in the second round, but I knew there was going to be a wide receiver I really like in the second round. There's so many wide receivers I like. I knew if there's one I like there in the second round, I'd be able to get one. So, and then Micah Parsons I think is an amazing player, but I just don't think inside linebacker is a huge need for the Giants. And I know he can play some edge and do some different things, and he would be great for the Giants. But Rashawn Slater it is. Opted out of the 2020 season. Can play guard and tackle. Now, for me though, I want to play him at tackle. I want him to play tackle. Now, this is hard to do, and this is kind of like fantasy land, but I would give Parrott the option. And if Parrott looks really good to start camp, then you let Parrott run at tackle. But if not, if Parrott's showing signs of struggles, then you put Rashawn Slater at right tackle. I know there's some ideas of him playing guard, but I just think he would be better off playing tackle, and I hate to give up on a prospect like Matt Parrott, but if Parrott shows any signs of struggles, I would put Slater at tackle. But whatever you think, I think this is a good player whether you play him at guard or tackle, and I'm fine with picking a guard at this spot. Crazy athletic and strong. I mean, when you see my film breakdown I'm going to do that's going to be out on Monday, his athleticism shows up so much when he's getting to the second level linebackers. Like, it's crazy. And then he finishes. And he's strong, 33 bench press reps. Benches people off him. Moves guys off their spot. I mean, when he played Chase Young, he was moving Chase Young off his spot in the run game. And in the pass game, I think he's got really good feet where Chase Young wasn't able to beat him. There wasn't a ton of reps, but Chase Young wasn't able to beat him. Now, critiques. He needs to start punching. Andrew Thomas would overpunch. Slater doesn't punch enough. He kind of places his hands instead of punches them. He can leave his inside open a little bit, which is something Andrew Thomas struggled with. So those are the two things that he needs to work on, I think, with the most. But I think he's got great lower body strength, which will help him in recoverability. And you saw it, and it saw it at Northwestern. He's able to recover because he was strong. So I don't think he's a guy you're going to bull rush. It kind of reminds me of Wirfs. So I'm going Rashawn Slater. I don't know who I'm going to play at right tackle or guard, but I'm getting an offensive lineman. I'm building around Daniel Jones, and we're figuring it out. We are figuring it out in year 3 of Daniel Jones. I'm giving him everything he needs. All right, so we took Rashawn Slater with the first pick. Round 2, pick 42. I went Dyami Brown, wide receiver out of UNC, 6'1", 190 pounds, averaged 20 yards per catch the last 2 seasons. This guy is wide receiver 4 for me. It goes Jamar Chase, Jalen Wall, Devontae Smith, Dyami Brown. I think Dyami Brown was the top half of the first round talent. I believe in this guy, man. I really think he's going to be an awesome player. So I understand the Giants have Darius Slayton, and I like Slayton, and I don't want to move on from Slayton, but I would feel bad passing on Dyami Brown. I would feel bad passing on Dyami Brown. Now, the other people that were here that I considered, you got Dyami, Joseph Asai, the edge out of Texas, Pat Freiermuth, and Chaz Surratt. Those were the other 3 people I was considering, and probably in order of what I would have went with: Dyami, Osai, Freiermuth, and then Surratt. And I actually put out a poll on Twitter to see what people would think. And I only did it for this pick because round 3, people don't recognize some names. In round 1, it would have just turned into a mess in the mentions. So I was pretty surprised. Dyami Brown got the smallest amount of votes. He got 13.3% of the votes. Pat Freiermuth got 22.1, Surratt got 22.9, and then Osai got it at 41.7, which was a hard decision for me. I do like Osai, but when I watched Tevin Jenkins versus Osai, and I love Tevin Jenkins, by the way, too. And so I'm going Dyami Brown, a guy who I think can be a wide receiver 1 in the average in the NFL. He's a deep threat. He stacks guys, and his deep threat sets him up so nicely underneath, for curls, comebacks, digs. And I like his route running. Like, his route running kind of reminds me of Torrey Holt. And there's something that Torrey Holt said to me, and it's always, or not to me, but said in an interview way back, and it stuck with me. You know how people talk about when they break their routes and some wide receivers round them? Well, Torrey Holt said, not only do I not round my routes, I have good agility, I come back. So if he's running an in, a lot of he's running an in or a dig, a lot of receivers, they don't have the agility. They go like this and then this. Then what people say, oh, you got to do this and then 90-degree angle. Torrey Holt would come back at like an 87-degree angle, come back to the ball, gives him more separation. Dyami Brown does that kind of stuff. So I love Dyami. And I felt good. You look for confirmation on some of your draft takes. Chris Sims has him at wide receiver 3. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And Sims has been pretty decent. So I love Dyami. I'm getting him, and a lot like Rashawn Slater in the O-line room, I'm figuring it out. I'm figuring it out with Slayton. I'm figuring it out with Shepard. And obviously Galladay's there. And Galladay really did change my draft strategy where I didn't need to go wide receiver in round 1. All right, now we're moving on to round 3, pick 76. And the guy is there that I considered in round 2. He was 4th on my list, but I considered him in round 2. I love this guy. This is my draft crush of 2021. Chaz Surratt, linebacker UNC, 6'2", 230 pounds. He's my draft crush. I watched him in the 2020 summer, and I fell in love with this guy. He's a transfer or change from QB after his sophomore year. So the last 2 years are his first years playing linebacker at UNC. I mean, look at these numbers. In his junior year, 115 tackles, 15 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks and an interception. And then in 11 games this year, basically, very similar numbers: 91 tackles, 7.5 for a loss, 6 sacks and another interception. I love this guy. I feel like he's really good in coverage. He has good instincts, and that's what I look for in an inside linebacker. Do you have good instincts? And he's got the good instincts in zone, and he's only going to get better. He's brand new to the position. Even though he is 24, he's new. He's football young, linebacker young. Really good in man coverage. And in the run game, man, I think he has instincts, good agility. He's not going to have a great 40 time, but I think he's got good short area speed, and he's going to come up and bust plays up. And it's just a perfect fit next to Blake Martinez, where he doesn't have to diagnose at times. Like, dude, play your gap, play it fast, flow, and worry about coverage. And I think Chaz Surratt is going to be really good at all those things, especially next to Blake Martinez. And he's a good pass rusher too. Like, he's got pop to his pass rush. Now, I think he needs to use his hands a little more so he can even get better at that. But I think this guy's going to be, I view him as like a end of the first, early second round type. So to get him in the third round, I feel great about it. I feel great about it. And I feel great. Basically, all my picks besides my first 6-round pick, I feel like I got a guy that I would have taken around before. Other people I was considering here: Edge, Rashad Weaver, Quincy Roche. Like both those guys. And then on the offensive line, I was looking at the interior. Josh Myers out of Ohio State, really like him. Aaron Banks, Notre Dame. Ben Cleveland, Georgia, and Trey Smith, Tennessee. But I was like, you know what? I like Banks, I like Cleveland, I like Smith, but I feel like one of those guys is gonna fall to me in the 4th round, so I'll take one of them. But guess what? They didn't. They didn't fall to me. But one of the guys I named did. Round 4, pick 116 for the New York Giants. I'm going Rashad Weaver, edge out of Pitt. Like I said, I considered him at this in the 3rd round. He's there in the 4th round. 6'4", 265 pounds. Led the ACC in pressures in 2020. 7.5 sacks, 14 tackles for a loss, all in 9 games. He is a real deal pass rusher. The draft doesn't have guys who are really like good pass rushers. You have guys who are athletic and have ability, and you hope with their ability they can take the next step and some raw talent. Weaver's got real pass rush moves, man. He's got top of the draft pass rush moves. He's not the most athletic guy, but he has pass rush moves that some guys that are considered in the 1st round don't have. He's an outside in rusher where you can just get skinny, just make a tackle look silly going from the outside in. I think his hands are awesome, keeping guys off of him. Sets a pretty decent edge in the run game. Multiple moves, like I said, and a lot of guys don't have that. I saw an analytics site say his sacks average 2.6 seconds per sack, which is just crazy numbers. People like to talk about coverage sacks. Those aren't coverage sack numbers. Those are, you're blowing people up and getting there quick numbers. So I really like Rashad Weaver, man. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the draft. Other people I was looking at here, none of those guards I mentioned fell. Dalen Hayes is a guy I like, but he's not a guy I love. Like, I think he does a lot of things well, but I don't think he does anything great. I think he'd be a great system fit for the Giants, where Rashad Weaver's not the greatest system fit because, he didn't drop back in the coverage at Pitt. But I want to work with the guy who can rush the passer, because that's what the Giants need right now. They need some guys on the edge that can rush the passer. And with a guy like Dalen, if Dalen's there in the 6th round, I would have taken him. But he wasn't. So now let's go to the 6th round. We have pick 196 of the 6th round. I got another pick in 5 spots thanks to the Arizona Cardinals and Marcus Golden. I am going Jalen Moore, an offensive tackle out of Western Michigan. But kicker, I'm drafting him to play guard, not drafting him to play tackle. I mean, like I said, we drafted Slater, we got Parrott, 6'4", 311 pounds. I fell in love with this guy at the Senior Bowl. I fell in love with him. I thought on the North squad, I thought he was the best offensive lineman out there for the North squad. And I just fell in love with his feet. Like, even in one-on-ones, he would win. Whereas, like, one-on-ones, offensive linemen aren't supposed to do that. But he played guard in the Senior Bowl game, and I thought he handled himself pretty well next to James Hudson out of Cincinnati. Good feet, good choppy feet. Always patient in the pass game. In the run game, he's got good pop. He's gonna bust you up initially. I wish he would finish some blocks a little better, and when he does get beat in the pass game, he has a hard time recovering. But that's a tackle. I'm working to this guy at guard, and I think he's going to be good in these jump sets, instead of, having to use a vertical slide. So I like Jalen Moore a ton, and I think he's a steal at this point. I think it's not the greatest value. Like, I think out of all these picks, besides first rounders, but I think this is where it's like I kind of had him right around end of the 5th, early 6th type guy. So I'm getting him where I think he should go. But I like this guy. I fell in love with him at the Senior Bowl. And who was I thinking else about taking here? Well, the guy I was thinking else about taking at pick 196, he was there at pick 201. And I know how these draft simulators work, so I kind of knew he would be there. I'm going Chris Rumph with the 201st overall pick. Edge out of Duke, 6'2", 244 pounds. I love this guy. I know he is a flawed prospect, But I love this guy. He's got great get off from the line of scrimmage. I mean, just beautiful getting off the line of scrimmage. Awesome agility. Like, his short area movement is unreal. He gets skinny between guards and tackles. Son of Bears D-line coach Chris Rumph, who, he was with the Texans before. Multiple pass rush moves. And you can see I kind of have a type with these late round edge guys. Give me someone with pass rush moves. I don't want to, if a guy's raw and he has all the potential in the world, let's talk about it. But give me a guy who I know can come in and rush the passer. Like the Giants with Carter Coughlin in the 7th round. I was like, this is a better pick than Cam Brown. Cam Brown's got all the ability, but Carter Coughlin's a guy that rushes the passer well. I don't think Carter Coughlin's going to be amazing in the NFL, but he had some impact on the 2020 New York Giants. Bucky Brooks loves this guy. He has him as a top 5 edge rusher, and I'm getting him in the 6th round. Now, when I say he's a flawed prospect, he is going to get bullied in the run game. It's just a fact. He will get bullied in the run game. He's got a small frame, and when offensive linemen get locked onto him, they don't let go. So you got to figure out a role to use him. But with the Giants and Patrick Graham, I do think they'll figure out a way. And the Duke actually kind of used him in a joker linebacker role where he is standing up and standing in gaps. Watch him versus Notre Dame when they use him like that. He was just killing these dudes, just shooting the gap every time, just making guards, centers, tackles look silly trying to block this guy because he's just got that great get off and that good like ability to get skinny through the offensive line. So give me the talent. Give me the talent in Chris Rumph, and let me trust Patrick Graham to make it work. So, in recap, round 1, Rashawn Slater. Round 2, Dyami Brown. Round 3, Chaz Surratt. Round 4, who did I pick in round 4? Did I forget? I'm not going to look. Rashad Weaver. I didn't look. And then round 6, I got Jalen Moore and Chris Rumph. I feel really good about this. Let me know what you think. I think round 1, most people are on the Rashawn Slater train, and I'm glad because that's who I would like to see fall there. And then just let me know. I appreciate you guys. Check out all the stuff. Episodes twice a week. Starting on Monday, I'll have a draft film breakdown every weekday, starting with Rashawn Slater, and I already have like Terrace Marshall done. I have Rondale Moore done. Tevin Jenkins. I have a lot done. So gonna have 18 of those. Appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and let's go freaking Big Blue. Happy draft month.